There is a scavenger as well that is slowly making its way towards where Tingana is. So there you can see the hyenas have arrived. There's 2 of them, as well as the 3 leopards. So it's all going a bit chaotic. Now that hyena is going straight to where Hosana had his leg. There we go. And Hosana wouldn't have been able to crunch that down, but a hyena most definitely can. And there goes the hyena trotting off with its prize in the form of a carcass, or in the form of a leg. Now you see, look how he's crouching down, waiting for the hyena to go past. Once the hyena's gone past, he pops back up again. Exactly the same behavior that Tingana displayed. Now Thamba, of course, doesn't have to worry because he's right up at the top, and so his sort of story is that he can just sit there and watch what goes on around him. He doesn't have to worry too much about all these different things that are happening. He can just sit and feed and take it very, very easy. That hyena will make very short work of that bone. It's not something that's very difficult for him to chew, and in fact, actually, a hyena will crunch that down in a space of about 2 seconds. So you can see Hosana's just watching the hyena in the distance, not too perturbed at all by the presence of the hyenas and the proximity of those hyenas. There we go. He's just watching now that the hyena spotted him. He was just going a little bit lower. Let's see what happens now. The hyena might rush in towards where Hosana is, just thinking that there might be food. No. They seem to be in a bit of a hiatus. And we know Hosana is not that perturbed by hyenas. We saw him around Treehouse with that kill where he was very close to a hyena. In fact, they were almost sniffing one another. And so it's almost like they interest him more than anything else. And he can hear the hyena crunching those bones. And that's probably why he's intrigued. He's maybe thinking there's a bit more food there that he could potentially get from those hyenas. But absolutely insane sighting. This is just ridiculous. There we go. Hosana's just watching now, settling down to watch. So he's obviously happy that Thamba's feeding up there, not too perturbed by the hyena now. And so everybody's reached a state of just taking it very easy. Weird. This is all that this... Maybe we should do a one-word tweet. That's actually a good time for a one-word tweet. Hashtag Safari Live. What this sighting makes you feel. For me, it's just a weird sighting. It's something that is indescribable, really. I want to try and go forward so we can still see Tingana as well. Because he's popped himself behind some of the rubble that is in this area. So if we get into this position here, we should be able to at least see Tingana as well between the sort of rubble and other things that are around. But absolutely insane sighting. To have all 3 of these boys together and the hyenas is pretty ridiculous. So there we go. You can see he's just watching, and he's not too perturbed at all. Like I say, he's not salivating. It's really crazy. Lidriway, you're asking, do smaller male leopards become nomadic as they get... former alpha leopards become nomadic as they get older. So yes, they do. So what you'll find is a situation where, and a prime example of this is Mvula, is that males that are out of their prime, that are pushed out by younger males, then do become nomadic. They'll move around and just try and avoid the dominant males. And so Mvula is the absolute best at that. He's able to get around and move around without actually pushing anybody else out, and without sort of making a scene and calling a scent marking, and he allows then Tingana and all these other males to move, and if he hears them, he just goes in the opposite direction. So they do become nomadic as they get older, much like a lion. If you look at the Matimba males in the lion world, how they've shifted and moved in their lifetime as bigger and younger males have pushed them out. So it shows you how these males work, and it's the exact same with leopard. As they get pushed around, they then become nomadic. A prime example of a nomadic leopard other than Mvula would be somebody like Kashan. So when I first started in the Sabi Sands, Kashan was a young male that was around the center to eastern parts of Singita, and he then moved into the western sector, and he's now down at Sabi. So he's all over the place, and he's shifted and moved accordingly as bigger dominant males have pushed him, and he's now starting to get a little bit older. So it most definitely does happen like that. But this is just ridiculous. Everywhere you look is just some sort of movement. So Thamba up in the tree, like I said, 2 hyenas that are hanging around on the airstrip. You've got Hosana that is slowly but surely edging his way towards the tree, and it's going to be